Yeah, welcome. Sorry about that. Item 1, please. Apologies.
Chairman, I've received apologies from councillors James Back, James DeFriend, Councillor Paul, Les Craggs from Dealtown Council, and I think Ian Black from Sandwich Town Council as well. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. Item 2, appointment of substitute members, please.
Oh, sorry, Chairman. Sorry, Chairman, I should have said Jamie Pout as well. Has sent his apologies. Subs, we have Councillor Stacey Blair subbing for Councillor Pout.
Yes, Councillor.
I'm here as Les Craggs as reserve from Dealtown Council.
Okay, thank you for that. Now come to item 3, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. Have we anybody? I'm not seeing any. So I'll now move on to item 4, which is the minutes. To confirm the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on the 16th of April 2026. Okay, have we a seconder, please? Could all show? Yes, Councillor.
At the end of the last meeting, when Toby Hale was in attendance, a number of us gave a few questions. The questions are shown in the minutes, but not the answers. Shouldn't that form part of the minutes? Thank you.
No, they wouldn't be. Only if they were answered at the meeting. I wouldn't include answers that were given after the meeting, following the meeting.
So when are we going to get factual answers?
Well, I've emailed members. The answers that I've received have been emailed round to members of the JTAB. Yeah. So you should have got that by email.
No, not the one I asked.
I have emailed them round.
Yeah, well,
I'll check after the meeting.
Okay.
But I'm sure I have definitely emailed them round.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your email, but I haven't got a satisfactory answer to my question.
You would need to take that up with the officer then.
Okay. I've got your email.
You turn your microphone off. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we have a proposal and a second for the minutes. Could you all show who's in agreement with those, please? Thank you. That's carried. Thank you very much. We now move on to item 5, part A, an update on local electric vehicle infrastructure project and electric vehicle charging infrastructure to consider the attached report of the Network Innovations Manager, Kent County Council.
We don't have a KCC officer here to present this report. So if you have any questions, I will make a note of them and then forward them on to the officer after the meeting.
So has anybody got any questions on that report? Yeah. So I've got Councillor Cronk, Councillor Blair, Councillor Richardson.
Yes, Chairman. I've got a question on these new systems. I've seen some reports that they are not up to standard for vandalism sort of thing. They can be broken quite easy and everything. What's the criteria from the people who are dealing with these, the safety of them?
Have you got that, Kate? Yeah, you're happy to just take it from there. Okay. Councillor Blair.
Thanks, Chair. I've actually got about 7 questions. Would it not be prudent for me just to email them over to you, Kate, instead? Because I feel like I'm wasting everyone's time, even though our time's already been wasted here. Do you see what I mean?
Sorry. Councillor Blair, just read them out, so we know what they are, so we know what's going through her mind as well.
I mean, I'm happy to. Obviously, it's just the fact that there isn't an officer here to answer. I didn't know whether everyone would think that was a waste of time, but okay. So the report states that up to 13 locations may be delivered within each district in the first year. How many sites are currently proposed for the Dover district and which criteria determine that number? The report also describes the site selection process as data-led. Can officers please explain precisely what weighting is given to the local member recommendations compared with the modelling and data set used? Will members be able to see the scoring methodology used to prioritise proposed charging locations so we can understand why some suggested sites are accepted and others are rejected? How will KCC measure what the rollout and whether it's been successful or not? Is there a defined performance framework or a metric beyond simply counting the number of chargers installed? Now, Urban Fox will own and operate the charging network, and what contractual projections are in place if delivery milestones aren't met within the 10-year programme as stated? If the report then states that the locations are selected to avoid property frontages where possible, what principles are used where this cannot be achieved, and how will residents' concerns be balanced against delivery targets? And finally, the report mentions a possible trial of cross-pavement cable gullies later in the year. What specific technical or safety evidence is still outstanding before KCC is prepared to make a decision?
Thank you for that set of very comprehensive questions, Councillor. Councillor Richardson.
DDC about 2 years ago put out about 75 within 6 months when it was done. So I do think across Kent 1,000 per year really isn't up to it. And my second question is, it's point 3.3 under the cross pavement charging solutions. Again, it's all very airy-fairy, and they say with a limited scale gully later in 2026. You know, that could be any time between now and the end of the year, and will it go into 27? So those are my two questions. Again, I'll email them over to you, Kate, so you've got them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Has anybody else got any questions? Yes, Councillor.
Councillor Tony Mins, I'm representing KALC. Looking at the report, I always consider, or with any report, the devil is in the detail. And if you look down to the bottom of the report with the gully, what do they call them? The cable gullies. First of all, it's a question that needs to be put in the details. Who's going to maintain the clearance of those gullies, and how effective is that clearance going to be? And the other question I have is, where there are going to be charging points, does that mean that the adjacent parking spaces are going to be exclusively for electric vehicles? Street parking particularly, is at a premium, particularly in this area, and it would seem a bit anomalous to have exclusive parking for electric things. Points to consider. Thank you.
Have you got those, Kate, or do you need those emailed out?
No, I've got that one. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I think my only comment on this is that a number of councillors have made this effort to come to this meeting, and it feels very disappointing that we haven't got an officer here to actually answer these questions. And the good thing about having an officer with questions and councillors asking questions is it creates a debate, and it creates other people to activate their questions and gives it information out. So I would like it noted that we're very disappointed that we haven't got a representative to actually ask anything. Even remotely would have been very helpful. But I think that's I think we've had it before, and I think it's very disappointing when we don't get an opportunity to discuss any of these points. Thank you.
A microphone on, Chairman. Tom, if you can hear me, can you put your camera and microphone on please, so I can bring you into the meeting.
We just had a few technical difficulties, but I'm sure normal service will be resumed as soon as possible.
Oh, I'm here now.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
That's okay.
So
no
what
problem.
do? I do that. Send live. Right, I'm just going to send you live, Tom.
That's okay.
So you're being broadcast, okay?
No problem.
Okay, with now item 6, which is the Highway Forward Works Programme 2024-2025 and 2025-26. I think we've got an officer online. Perhaps he could introduce himself on that report, please.
I'm Tom. I'm the hire manager for Dover. You might remember me from previous JTBs when we've had them. Obviously, I'm just here to take questions from the report.
Okay, councillors, anybody got any questions on the report? Councillor Bear.
I'm literally made of questions. I've got 9. So how would you like them?
One at a time and very slowly, please.
Okay. The report notes that schemes may be delayed because of inflation, changing priorities and budget pressures. Which schemes within the Dover district are currently considered most at risk of slipping beyond their advertised programme?
In what one is this relating to? What appendix?
It was sort of after reading. It was generic.
Yeah. To my knowledge, none at the moment. Nothing's been communicated with me from the various teams. If you have specific areas of concern, i.e. street lighting, drainage, and the asset team.
It was more if you have this specific areas of concern.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. All right, next question. How often is the forwards work process formally reviewed? And are members notified when priorities change, or only once revised programming is published?
Typically when it's published. Obviously we have these JTB meetings quarterly, typically. That is when obviously the report is redone, and that's when you'll see the changes to the programme potentially.
Okay. What objective criteria determines when a deteriorating road can be accelerated within the programme rather than waiting for the next scheduled review?
So that will come down to a number of factors. it will be down to the inspections carried out by the highway stewards and the highways inspectors feeding back to the asset teams. That the road is deteriorating at a quicker rate than originally expected. There's also a number of systems which feed back data. One of them is Horizons, which feeds back, skid resistancy, road condition, and it feeds all that information back, which kind of feeds the program, which kind of determines the roads in the first place. So I hope that at least part answers your question there. I can get further information from the asset team if required. But that's
just to follow on from that then, who updates the Horizons program in order to work that information out?
So that is done by a company. Horizons is the company.
But how do they get the information on the roads to start with?
They road survey. They carry out road surveys on the roads. I couldn't tell you that, to be honest. I couldn't tell you that one, unfortunately, but I can ask the question and get back to you. So I'll just make a note that you'd like a note on the frequency of surveying for the Horizon system.
Okay, sorry if everyone doesn't mind, I'm going to carry on. Honeywood Parkway appears within both the carriageway and footway programmes. And could you confirm that these works will be coordinated so the residents aren't subject to repeated disruptions?
So yeah, it really depends on what traffic management's required. The carriageway will obviously be a road closure, as you'll probably be well aware of. I'm unsure at present as to whether that's going to be at night time or daytime. The footway scheme itself, I need to speak to the engineer as to what traffic management's that's going to be carried out with, because typically when they're resurfacing a carriageway, I don't know if you've ever been to a site and seen the machinery on site, but obviously it's quite chaotic, and having two kind of aspects working at the same time is logistically quite dangerous. So more than likely they'll probably have the closure done for the carriageway, and then they'll probably see a two-way light setups maybe for the footway, but again I'd have to clarify that with the engineer.
Okay, several drainage schemes are listed as completed. Does KCC carry out any post-completion monitoring to establish whether flooding has actually been resolved, or is it completion simply defined by the engineer works when they're finished?
So the engineering works are most systems are typically flood tested upon completion on that list. Obviously, with the exception of just cleansing, because obviously cleansing the system would kind of determine whether that system's working as normal. Obviously they are monitored to a degree via reports we receive. Outside of that initial flood test, once the scheme's completed, again we rely on reports that come in, and my team do try and get out to some of these problematic sites in heavy rainfall, but obviously that's not always possible.
Okay, sorry, I'm almost done, everyone.
That's okay.
Chapel Lane remains stalled because the adjoining landowner cannot be contacted, which has happened on a few different projects recently. So at what point does KCC consider using its statutory powers where essential drainage improvements depend on the access to private land?
So I believe there is, like you say, powers available. I would have to seek that advice from the drainage team themselves. So apologies, I can't offer you a comprehensive response to that question. But again, I can make a note and I can ask the drainage team as to when are they expected to exercise those powers in situations like this.
Okay. The Buckland Avenue Barton Road scheme has reached design stage, but delivery is delayed to avoid disruption to port traffic. Has any assessment been made to the road safety implications of postponing casualty reduction measures?
Oh, I do apologise. I'm just writing down your previous question.
Oh, okay.
When such powers relating to land access. Okay, I do apologise. If you wanted to repeat the question again, sorry.
The Buckland Avenue Barton Road scheme has reached design stage, but delivery has been delayed to avoid disruption to port traffic. Has any assessment been made of the road safety implications of postponing casualty reduction measures?
So is this on the Appendix D?
Yeah.
Design complete. I have to double check, to be honest. Obviously, we are somewhat at the mercy of the port traffic with regards to, you know, schemes in and around that area, due to, well, as you know, I don't know if you've been through Dover when the port is backed up, but closing any of those roads to deliver works is simply a no-go. But I will have to, you know, if I can write down comprehensively what you're requesting there. So has consideration been given to the road safety?
Yeah.
Has consideration been given to road safety in relation to the delays? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Delays. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put the question forward to the team and I'll see what they come back with.
Okay, just 2 more, I promise.
That's okay.
Well, unless you say something that makes me want to ask more questions. The Dover Priory to town centre cycle routes approaching consultation. And will members have an opportunity to review the outline design before the public consultation begins, or just respond alongside that?
Yeah, it will be, so the opportunity will be there when because it's classed as a statutory consultation, so it'll go to all the statutory consultees and the public at the same time. And obviously following that is when you'll be able to put your statements of support, objection, or potential amendments that you would like. And obviously if it gets over a certain number of objections, obviously it will be debated in the Joint Transportation Board anyway.
Okay. And finally, the report states that there are currently no combined member grant schemes. Is this because no funding remains available, no applications have been submitted, or because no schemes have met the approved criteria?
I'd have to go to the team and ask as to what their situation is. It could be any number of those things. It could be that the schemes that have been requested are unable to be achieved within the financial means of the member grant, the feasibility, or there simply hasn't been the appetite to submit applications at this stage. But again, I can ask the team to kind of give me a definitive answer on that one if you'd like.
I'll send all the questions over to Kate to send on.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
That's all right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I've got Councillor Reddy, then Councillor Collar.
Thank you. To a certain extent, Councillor Blair has asked one of my questions, which is why is there nothing under the members' grant scheme? And I think it would be very useful for us to find out what has been put in, why it might have been turned down, if anything has been put in, and how much money is left. There are a couple of other areas where there are gaps. Under Appendix D, Transportation and Safety Schemes, there are 2 which relate to externally funded schemes, and there's nothing under that. I mean, why are we not able to lever in some funding for substantial schemes? Because we do, as has been pointed out earlier, we do have significant problems with heavy traffic coming particularly into the port area of Dover. But the other one which interested me as well, where there's nothing under it, is Appendix G, Traffic Systems, which is basically a program of scheduled maintenance to refurbish life expired traffic signal equipment. Does this mean that all our traffic signalling equipment is up to standard within the district, or are we cutting out a period of regular maintenance? Because it does seem to me from time to time we do have occasional problems with our traffic signals. So just reasons for gaps, if you like, within the schedule. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll have to take those questions away, especially the ones in relation to externally funded schemes. I do apologise. I missed your name. Obviously, if I could just take your name so I can make a note of the questions.
Yeah, I'm Councillor Mike Eddy is representing Deal Town Council as one of the non-voting members of this. So you'll get my email on Deal Town Council website.
That's absolutely fine.
So because I can't remember what it is offhand.
No, of course, fine. That's
Sorry,
fine.
with your permission, Chairman, sir, I think probably the best thing to do is for Tom to send the answers to me, and I'll then forward them on to JTB members. That's probably the best way of doing it, so everyone's got the answer to all the questions.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That's it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Councillor Collar.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. About 18 months ago, when I was still a member of KCC, I asked Kent Highways to look at the illumination of Castle Street in Dover, because due to demolition of two main big buildings there, namely MFI and the former ABC cinema site, the street lighting was fixed to the walls. Well, one's been rebuilt as a block of flats, the other one's still a bomb site, and the lights seem a little bit substandard to me. So could they be checked, please? You might remember me talking to you about this, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not. Did you ever receive a response from Street Lighting, Councillor Collar?
No.
No. Okay. I'll raise the question again to our Street Lighting department. Okay.
Okay.
And is that Castle? Was it Castle Street?
Yeah. Both ends actually.
Yeah. Castle Street illumination. Okay. Lovely. Thank you.
Right, if I may, Tony Menz, KALC. I'm prompted to ask a question which is probably a bit out of the remit of Kent Highways, but it's nevertheless on highways within the county. And I'm prompted by Appendix I, the road markings. Around the county and in this area are a number of temporary road signs which have been left by the roadside responsibility of the roads with national highways. The other notice that I've seen around in the county in various places with a little amusement is a notice saying worn road markings. And I think to myself, the effort of putting the notice there might have been better spent replacing the road markings. How much liaison do you have with national highways in their responsibility?
Obviously, we have. Obviously, that's not the public maintainable highway, the National Highways Network with regards to Kent. So we don't particularly have communication with regards to worn road markings on their network. That's not something we can unfortunately influence.
Councillor.
The councillor behind me, sorry, I forgot your name. I very much agree with his view on the way national highways leave their temporary signage across Snowgate Street and Townwall Street, and the way they leave their split sandbags and such like. I know that Toby Howe does liaise with National Highways. Can we get a message to Toby to reiterate that this is a recurring problem and something that is it Keir Southern who have actually got the contract should be picked up on, because it leaves a very poor impression as people enter our country and our county. Thank you.
That's fine. I say I could feed that back to Toby to see if he can communicate with National Highways. But obviously, it's something. We can never go onto their network and remove these. So it would be ultimately National Highways to remove. But I'll speak to Toby and I'll let him know your concerns.
Councillor Thorpe.
Yes, just a query that I've had from one of my constituents regarding the Dover Deal Road. There's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, But as you come past that by this Swingate pub, or I can't remember what it is now, it's an Indian restaurant now, they've reduced the speed from 50 to temporary to 30, as far as I'm aware. Now, is that going to be permanent, or could you find out if it's, if it's temporary? Because it doesn't sit, they've covered up the signs for the 50 mile an hour and put temporary, I think the 30 mile an hour speed limits along there, but it doesn't say whether it's going to be permanent or not, but the road markings still say 50. So it's very confusing for people coming along there, because they've got the speed cameras, they know it's 50 mile an hour, but then if it's being reduced down, I would have thought they'd have covered up the markings on the road. So
I was a bit puzzled myself when I drove that road not too long ago. So I'll raise that with our Streetworks department as to see if they can tell me who submitted the temporary traffic regulation order to reduce it down to a 30. And obviously, if that is all legally binding, what has happened there, then obviously they do need to remove or temporarily remove the rounders on the road to reduce and remove that confusion. So I'll take that up with our Streetworks department, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a repeat attempt by me. On this matter of the A258, and I see Thomas smiling there because he's been in the loop with emails from me, and the emails have been going on in a long string correspondence since the start of the solar panel farm works down the lane. To summarise, Thomas no doubt will be able to confirm, the original temporary order was for a closure of that lane to aid their construction vehicles. It was the constructing company that added those speed limits without authorization, and now they've got a temporary order. But unfortunately, as you say, the signs are not placed appropriately. They're very confusing. And once again, many of them are lying in the grass verge, almost discarded. So there's a long chain of correspondence over this. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I say just to add to that, I will be speaking to our Streetworks department tomorrow. Again, with the limited information I have at this time, I believe the order may end of play today. So I do need to speak to our Streetworks department so they can clarify as to what the situation is going forward there. But if they are to extend that temporary speed limit, they do need to ensure that the contractor installing the signs is doing it to the correct standard and ensuring that there's no confusion when using that bit of carriageway. So I'll take that forward to Streetworks and hopefully get an answer ASAP.
Councillor Porter.
I was just going to add what Councillor Mims has just said about the solar farm and those restrictions for when the vehicles were going down the lane in Guston.
Have we any other questions? Councillor Hibbert.
Yeah, just a rather quick one. We were talking about earlier on about local needs list as such, and it's something that I had correspondence with your good self about the Auckland Valley Road. You probably recall my name over the last couple of years about
of course
that. Yeah. And I'm glad to say that we had success when we had the work done. And what I wanted to ask, of course, is going forward, where are we for the rest of the Auckland Valley Road? But in terms of the local list, this needs list, is that available to all of us to look at to see where we are in terms of priority on that list?
Yeah, so essentially that is part of the published forward works program that comes out. So all the roads that we look at as local needs, obviously we prioritize as best as we can, typically based on a number of factors, including current condition, volume of traffic, frequency of attendance to emergencies on that section of road, and a number of factors help us prioritize. But in short and long of it, it's essentially the forward works program, Councillor Hibbert, and that's kind of the extent of the information that's currently available on that one.
Thank you for that. I mean, what I like to see is a heads up before it starts.
Yeah.
That's what we want, and to give us prior warning. And the first thing I knew about it, of course, was the official letters going out. And I expected a bit more, quite honestly.
Yeah, it's understandable. Like I say, we'll going forward. I'll speak to the asset team, and I'll try and ensure that better notice is given on these things going forward.
Have we any other questions? Councillor Mint.
Yes, I have one question which is not on the agenda, but it is a question about, for want of a better word, the liberties that are taken by various individuals to put temporary signs and temporary traffic lights on roads. I haven't managed to do the investigation yet, but Friday of last week, I take it there was an event at the Duke of York School. And as you approach the entrance opposite Broadleys Farm, there were some roadwork signs placed on the A258. And there was a set of temporary traffic lights to permit a pedestrian crossing. Offhand, does Thomas know if there was an order in place, or has somebody taken a liberty with doing that? Thank you.
I am unaware of any order that's come in. Obviously, I will have to check with our streetworks to see whether any permit was submitted for that. Obviously, any signs, traffic management, temporary traffic lights installed on the network should have a permit. Obviously, in emergency with some utility companies, obviously that's not always the case to have a permit, and sometimes that's retrospective. But in this case, in this specific case, I do believe that a permit should have been applied for. So I will check with our streetworks team to ensure, to find out if that was the case. So that's on the 258 by the Duke of York School. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was right. I can email you the details and the date, so that if that would help you.
That would massively help. Thank you. Yeah, that would really save some time. Yeah.
Have we any other questions? I'm not seeing any. I mean, I think any emails should be directed to Kate, therefore she can manage it through and manage any answers. And then obviously, if we don't get the answers, then we've got a record of that. So if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank the officer for his attendance and look forward to seeing his responses. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like now to close the meeting. This concludes the meeting. I would like to thank members, officers and all those watching the meeting online. Please could I ask Democratic Services to end the meeting broadcast and confirm when this has been done.